Hello friends, welcome back to Max's Cards and Dice Dugout. This is episode 236, and this time out we are at Milwaukee County Stadium in Brewtown for game number 4 of the 1982 World Series replay. We're using TTBX, which is the expansion kit for the great and classic time travel baseball game. It's the Brewers and the Cardinals. We are in Milwaukee, as I mentioned. And let's see. Milwaukee leads the series 2-1 as we come into Game 4. Game 5 will also be in Milwaukee before heading back to St. Louis, unless Milwaukee can wrap it up while we're here. I've done all the calculations for fielding points. We'll get to that in a minute. First, let's get to the lineups first for the visiting Cardinals. Leading off, second baseman Tom Herr. Batting second at third base, Ken Oberkfell. Batting third, first baseman Keith Hernandez. Batting fourth, right fielder George Hendrick. Batting fifth, catcher Darryl Porter. Batting sixth, left fielder Lonnie Smith. Batting seventh is the DH, that's Dane Orge. Batting eighth, center fielder Willie McGee. Batting ninth, shortstop Ozzie Smith. And on the mound for the Cardinals is Dave LaPointe. He's a left-hander and an ace pitcher. I'll talk about that in a minute. In 1982, he was 9-3 with a 3.42 ERA, 152 and 2/3 innings pitched. Ace pitcher has all of these enhancements to his appearances, and as they come up, I will talk about them. So for the home Milwaukee Brewers, leading off third baseman Paul Molitor. Batting second, shortstop Robin Yount. Batting third, first baseman Cecil Cooper. Batting fourth, catcher Ted Simmons. Batting fifth, center fielder Gorman Thomas. This is a slight change for Harvey Keene. He swapped Thomas and Ogilvy. Ogilvy's batting sixth and in left field. Batting seventh, this is another change. Don Money's the DH. Batting eighth, right fielder Charlie Moore. Batting ninth, second baseman Jim Gantner. And on the mound is Moose Haas. In 1982, he was 11-8 with a 4.47 ERA and 193 and 1/3 innings pitched. Okay, so as mentioned, the fielding points were totaled up along with all the modifiers for the ballpark for any star fielders and their fielding ratings. Cardinals come up with a 30 and the Brewers a 28. That will be used to determine whether or not a team is alert or careless based on each individual play. So Herr's in the batter's box and Haas is ready, and here we go. And that's a chop ground ball to Jim Gantner, over to Cecil Cooper, and there's one away. That's going to bring up third baseman Ken Oberkfell. Brewers lead the series 2-1. That's a slow ground ball. Back to Moose Haas. He jogs over towards Cooper, tosses to him, and that's the second out. Next up, Keith Hernandez. Pitch from Haas. And low and outside, and Hernandez draws the 2-out walk. So he's on first with 2 outs. He's getting a good lead here, but he's going to stay put. That brings up right fielder George Hendrick. Doubles again. And this is coming from Haas's card, and that's going to be a double. Daring runner on first scores, and let's see. Hernandez is a fast runner, not daring, so he's going to move to third. And let's see where that ball went. That went to left field, so he's going to hold it third. And Hendrick cruises into second with a 2-out double. So it's second and third for the Cardinals here, with 2 outs in the top of the first, and Darryl Porter Pitch from Haas. That's a chop ground ball to first baseman Cecil Cooper. He's going to take that unassisted for the third out. So for the Cardinals, no runs on one hit, 2 men left on base. We've played a half inning. And it's the Cardinals 0. Brewers coming to bat. So Dave LaPointe takes the mound for St. Louis. And leading things off for the Brewers will be Paul Molitor. Here's the pitch. Molitor gets on top of that one. To Ken Oberkfell, over to Keith Hernandez. And there's one away. Brings up shortstop Robin Yount. Pitch. Deep fly ball to center fielder Willie McGee. And he makes that catch on the warning track, and there are 2 away. That brings up Cecil Cooper. Pitch from the point. That's a 2-out single. Cooper. He rounds first base, but he'll stay put there. And catcher Ted Simmons batting in the cleanup spot. Here's the pitch from LaPointe. It's a choppy ground ball to Ozzie Smith, over to Keith Hernandez for the final out here in the bottom of the first. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. And after 1 inning of play, we are scoreless. Pitchers from this era, their fatigue inning is the 7th, unless they're getting shelled, and if that happens, we'll talk about it. Leading things off for St. Louis here in the top of the second is left fielder Lonnie Smith. And we'll flip the card, but either way, it's a strikeout. First strikeout for Haas. And there's 1 away. So 1 out, nobody on. DH Dane Orge. Pitch. That's a ground ball to second baseman Jim Gantner. Cecil Cooper scoops that one up, and that's out number 2. So 2 up, 2 down for St. Louis here in the top of the second. And center fielder Willie McGee. And he hits a deep fly ball to center fielder Gorman Thomas. At the track, makes the catch for out number 3. St. Louis goes 3 up, 3 down. No runs, no hits, no one left on. And after an inning and a half, we remain scoreless. Leading things off for Milwaukee here in the bottom of the second, the center fielder Gorman Thomas. Pitch from LaPointe. It's a sharp ground ball to Ozzie Smith. Keith Hernandez, and there's 1 away. So 1 out, nobody on. Left fielder Ben Ogilvy. Pitch from LaPointe. And that's a pressure play. Now, there's no runners on base, so that does not turn the pressure play into a strikeout. So we will pick a actually, we got to see if we're alert. And let's see, St. Louis is alert. Anything less than a 30, that's a 14, so they are alert. And pressure play says against an alert team, we pick a talent card. Against a careless team, pick an error card. So we're going to go till we get a talent card, which is the green card. And let's see, there is no one on base. It's a routine fly, falls for a short single. If the right fielder or the second baseman are a 3, and her is a 3, Hendricks a 2 out in right field, but her is a 3, and it turns the play into a pop-up. So Ogilvy pops out for the second out. There's 2 outs, nobody on. For Milwaukee here in the bottom of the second, we are scoreless. And the DH for Milwaukee, Don Money. Pitch. It's coming from Money's card, and that's a short single. So that's a 2-out single for Don Money. So he's on first, 2 away. And right fielder Charlie Moore. Pitch from LaPointe. And this is trouble. It's coming from LaPointe's card, and it's a double. Daring runner on first scores. Well, Money is not a daring runner. And that ball was hit to left field, so Money's going to hold it third. And Moore's double puts runners at second and third with 2 outs. And second baseman Jim Gantner. Pitch from the point. And Gantner hits a hard ground ball back to LaPointe. And he tosses over to Keith Hernandez for the 1-3 put out to end the inning and the threat. So for Milwaukee in the bottom of the second, no runs on 2 hits. 2 men left on. 2 innings in the books, and we remain scoreless. LaPointe gets out of that jam. We're going to go to the top of the third. First batter, Moose Haas, faces is going to be the 9-hole with Ozzie Smith, shortstop. There's the pitch. And that's a double into right field for Ozzie Smith to lead things off for St. Louis here in the top of the third. So Smith in scoring position with nobody out. And we're back to the top of the order and Tom Herr. Herr is 0 for 1. Pitch from Haas. And that is a single. That goes into center field. And that's going to drive in Ozzie Smith. So he rounds third and comes in to score. Cardinals are the first to draw blood on Tommy Herr's RBI single. So it's 1-0 St. Louis and no one out here in the top of the third. Pitch from Haas to Ken Oberkfell. Let's take a gamble. So we have a runner on first. Runner steals and catchers throw sails into center field for an error. Runner advances to third. Star catcher equals daring runner steals second. Okay, but Ted Simmons is not a star catcher. So Tommy Herr steals second base, so we'll give him the stolen base there. And he moves to third on the throwing error. So we got our first error of the game on Ted Simmons. So now there's a runner on third. And Ken Oberkfell's still at the plate. There's still no one out. Cardinals lead 1-0. Here's the pitch. It's coming from Oberkfell's card, and that's low and outside. That puts runners on the corners for St. Louis. So first and third, nobody out. Cardinals lead 1-0 here in the top of the third. Keith Hernandez comes to the plate. Milwaukee's keeping the defense normal here. And that's strikeout number 2 for Haas. Gets that big first out. So now runners on the corners with 2 outs, or excuse me, 1 out. And George Hendrick. Defense still, normal depth. Here's the pitch. That's a hard ground ball to shortstop Robin Yount. So let's see, hard ground ball. Runner advance 1 base if forced. Alert defense with runner on first, double play. All right, so let's see. Milwaukee needs a 28 or less. It's an 11, so they're going to get the double play to get out of the inning here. So it's going to be a 6-4-3 double play. They get the force on Oberkfell at second. And Hurd does not score. So the Cardinals get 1 run on 2 hits. 1 man left on. We played 2.5, and St. Louis 1, Milwaukee nothing. Oh, the bottom of the third. First batter for Dave LaPointe's going to be the Milwaukee top of the order. Third baseman Paul Molitor, who's 0 for 1. Pitch from LaPointe. And we're going to take a gamble. There's nobody on base. Bad weather delays the game for 1 hour. Replace pitchers and resume game. Oh, boy. Workhorse stays in the game. Well, this is something unexpected, but you know what? Let's do it. All right, so that's it for Dave LaPointe. And let's see who we're going to bring in here. Steve Mura is going to relieve or come out for point after the rain delay. So LaPointe's out of the game. Let's see. Mura in 1982 was 12-11 with a 4.05 ERA. 184 and a third innings pitched. And Mura is a 1 defensively, but he's not an ace, so the ace rating goes away for St. Louis. And we'll figure out who's going to pitch for Milwaukee when we get to that point. So, rain delay over, and it's the bottom of the third. Mura is an A-ranked pitcher, and he's a righty. Okay, so first batter for Mura is going to be Paul Molitor here in the bottom of the third. Cardinals lead 1-0. Here's the pitch. And we get a pressure play. Well, let's see if St. Louis is on alert. Anything less than a 30? No. So they are careless on this play. So we're going to go till we get an error card, and we get that first. All right, so nobody on base. Short signal to third base. Fast or daring batter to second? Well, Molitor is daring, as third baseman's hurry throw in the dirt bounces away from the first baseman for an E5. Okay, so it's a single for Molitor, and he advances to second on the E5. Oberkfell's error. Both teams have committed an error now. So Molitor's in scoring position with nobody out. So tough start for Mura here on the error by Ken Oberkfell. That brings up Robin Yount. Here's the pitch. Low and outside, and now it's first and second with no one out. Put that in the wrong place. So Molitor singles, reaches second on the error, and Yount walks. So now it's first and second with no one out. Cecil Cooper. Pitch from Mura. We'll flip the card because we need to, but either way, it's a strikeout. It's the first out and the first strikeout for Steve Mura. So first and second with one away. Catcher Ted Simmons. Simmons is 0 for 1. Grounded out to Ozzie Smith his first time up. Here's the pitch. And this is trouble. flip the card because we need to, but either way, it's a pop fly double. Runners advance 2 bases with 2 outs, all runners score. So that's going to tie the ball game up. And Simmons' double. Molitor's going to come around and score. We're tied at 1. And the out moves to third. So it's second and third with nobody out. And the game is tied at 1. With Gorman Thomas up, St. Louis is going to keep the infield normal. All right, second and third, 1 out. Pitch. Got to take a gamble. All right, lead runners on third. Oh boy, triple driven to the deepest part of the ballpark. Pitcher with an 8 strikeout on his card, which Mura doesn't have. That's a strikeout as batter misses the high hard one, but that does not happen. And Gorman Thomas with the triple over Keith Hernandez's head into right field. George Hendrick has a hard time tracking it down. And it's now 3-1 in favor of Milwaukee. Big hit for Thomas. And he's on third with 1 out. Now St. Louis is going to bring the infield in. Try to hold Thomas there. That brings up Ben Ogilvy. Pitch. And it's another gamble. Lead runners on third. Batter pulls a hot liner down the line. Pick a gamble card. Batter's image is a double. Pitcher's image is a foul ball. And that's a double for Ben Ogilvy. And that brings Thomas in. And it's now 4-1 Milwaukee. And the crowd goes wild here. Man on second, still only 1 out. Defense is back at normal. I should have said that for Ogilvy's at bat, but this brings up Don Money. Pitch. Low and outside, and it's now first and second, and Steve Muir's in big trouble. And there is activity in the St. Louis bullpen. And it's Jeff Leite. Leite warming up for St. Louis. And I have to check pitcher fatigue for... I have to excuse me a moment. I need to reference something here in the rules. Okay, so it looks like it's going to be the 7th batter for a reliever from this era when he faces fatigue. All right, so Leahy's warming up. Muir's still in here. And we got first and second with 1 out. And Charlie Moore. Brewers lead this one now 4-1 here in the bottom of the third. Here's the pitch. And it's a chopped ground ball. Now, the infield is playing normal depth, so let's see what happens here. It's a chopped ground ball. And that goes to pitcher Mura. And that's going to score another, or no, excuse me. They're going to get money on the force out at second. Moore's going to reach on a fielder's choice. And Ogilvy moves to third. So now there's 2 outs with runners on the corners and Jim Gantner. Pitch from Mura. Short single with a question mark. But they are not the same handedness, so that is a short single as opposed to a strikeout. And that's going to score Ogilvy. It's now 5-1. Moore moves to second. So Gantner with the single. And the Brewers have battered around. Because here comes Paul Molitor again. Whitey Herzog's going to let Muir try to get out of this inning. They now trail 5-1. Here's the pitch. And it's a chalk ground ball to shortstop Ozzie Smith. He goes a short way to Tom Herr at second base for the third out. 6-4 put out. But the Brewers score 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 runs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits. 2 men left on. We've played 3, and it is now the Brewers 5, the Cardinals nothing. All right, so Moose Haas has a 4-run cushion as he comes out for the top of the 4th, and it's Darrell Porter leading things off for St. Louis. And he gets under this one, sends it to deep right field where Charlie Moore is, and he makes the catch for out number 1 here at the top of the 4th. Brings up left fielder Lonnie Smith. Smith struck out his first time up. Here's the pitch. It's a pressure play. And we got to see if Milwaukee's alert. They are. So we're going to pick a talent card. And we get a talent card, nobody on base. It's a double on a misjudged shallow fly, a star left fielder, or a star third baseman. It turns into a pop fly out. Well, neither Ogilvy or Molitor are star players, so we get a 1-out double for Lonnie Smith. So Smith's on second with 1 away. Brings up Dane Orge. Pitch from Haas. That's a deep fly ball to center fielder Gorman Thomas. He's under that, makes the catch. Lonnie Smith holds up at second base, and there's 2 away. Center fielder Willie McGee. McGee's 0 for 1. It's a hard ground ball to first baseman Cecil Cooper, and he's going to take that unassisted for the 3rd out. So the Cardinals, no runs. Whoops. No runs on 1 hit, 1 man left, and after 3.5, it's the Brewers 5 and the Cardinals 1. Steve Muir's day's over. And the new pitcher for St. Louis is Jeff Leahty. In 1982, Leahty was 5-4 with the 3.81 ERA. 56 2/3 innings pitched. He is a 1 defensively, so no change there. But he's a right-handed pitcher, and he's a C-rated pitcher. Okay, so he will become fatigued after 7 batters, or we'll start checking for fatigue after 7 batters. But right now, he's got to face Robin Yount here in the bottom of the 4th. Pitch from Leahty. And Yount tags that one into left field, and Lonnie Smith can't track it down. He slides into 3rd with a leadoff triple. So St. Louis is going to hold the defense normal. Cecil Cooper up. And that scores another run on a single. And I'm marking things in the wrong place. That was a triple. That's nothing. There's nothing, and that's a single. So it's now 6-1. Cecil Cooper's RBI single. He's on first base. Still nobody out. Ted Simmons. And that's a hard ground ball. Got to see if the defense is alert. St. Louis is alert, so it's going to be a double play. And that ball was hit to Keith Hernandez, so it's going to be Hernandez to Smith, back to Hernandez for the 3-6-3 double play. And now there are 2 away. So 2 outs, nobody on. Gorman Thomas. Thomas is 1 for 2, had that big triple last inning. Here's the pitch. It's a deep fly ball to center field. Willie McGee back at the wall makes the catch for out number 3. So the Brewers pick up another run on 2 hits. No one left on base. And after 4 innings, it's now 6-1 in favor of Milwaukee. Now Moose Haas has a 5-run lead to work with as we go to the top of the 5th. And it's Ozzie Smith leading things off. First thing is a pressure play. And let's see, nobody on base. It's a single off the second baseman's mitt. Star second baseman, which Gantner is not. So it doesn't matter. It's a lead-off single for Ozzie Smith here in the top of the 5th. So single for Smith. He's on first. Nobody out. Cardinals trail 6-1. Back to the top of the order for Tommy Herr. Pitch from Haas. And it's a high fly ball to right fielder Charlie Moore. And he makes the catch for out number 1. Ozzie Smith holds at first base. No man on first with 1 out now. Third baseman Ken Oberkfell. Pitch from Haas. Got to take a gamble. So the lead runner is on first base. It's a sharp ground out to the first baseman. And that sharp ground out is going to be a double play unless Ozzie Smith has an extra effort on his card, and he does not. So that is a nice play by Cecil Cooper. And we're going to get another 3-6-3 double play, Cooper to Cooper. And that's it for the Cardinals here in the top of the 5th. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left on. Played 4.5, and it's the Brewers 6 and the Cardinals 1. All right, so let's see how many batters Leite faced. 1, 2, 3, 4. So he faced 4. 3 more batters will start doing fatigue checks. But as this game slips away, Whitey Herzog is probably just going to have these guys eat up some innings and hope for the best tomorrow. All right, so anyway, leading things off in the bottom of the 5th for Milwaukee is Ben Ogilvy. It's a pitch from Leite. And that's a strikeout. First strikeout for Leite. And there's 1 down here in the bottom of the 5th. That brings up DH Don Money. Money is 1 for 1 with a walk. Here's the pitch, and this could be trouble. It is a plop fly into center field. Willie McGee can't get to it, and that is a 1-out double for Money. So he's on second with 1 out. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. After Charlie Moore, we're going to have to start doing fatigue checks for Leahy. All right, so Charlie Moore, man on first. Excuse me, man on second, 1 out. Pitch. And that's a strikeout. Strikeout number 2 for Jeff. And there are 2 away here. All right, so 7th batter after this batter, or actually at this batter, we got to do a fatigue check for Leahy. And he is fatigued. All right, so we're going to try to get him out of this inning. We got to get the fatigue card for a C pitcher. So there's 2 outs with a man on second. That's Don Money. And Jim Gantner's at the plate. Pitch. It's a choppy ground ball hit to Ozzie Smith. Over to Keith Hernandez. And that's out number 3. So the Brewers, no runs on 1 hit, 1 man left. We've played 5, and it's the Brewers 6 and the Cardinals 1. Moose Haas cruising along here. We are at the top of the 6th inning, so no fatigue checks yet. We'll do that next inning for Haas. Leading things off for St. Louis here in the top of the 6th is Keith Hernandez. He's a lefty and a righty, so the question mark does not come into play. And it's a leadoff single for Hernandez. So man on first, nobody out. Cardinals trail 6-1. Have to excuse me, I needed to wet my whistle. All right, that brings up George Hendrick. Excuse me. Pitch from Haas. Oh boy. And Hendrick gets a hold of this one, hits it into deep left field. Ogilvie watches it go over his head, and it is a 2-run blast. And the game is now 6-3 in favor of the Brewers. And there's still nobody out here in the top of the 6th. That brings up Darryl Porter. Pitch from Haas. That's a chop ground ball. Hit to Keith Hernandez. And he will toss it to, or it's not Keith Hernandez. What am I thinking? Cecil Cooper. He'll toss it to Moose, covering first base for the first out here in the top of the 6th. So 1 out, nobody on. Cardinals, or the Brewers, I should say, lead 6-3. That brings up Lonnie Smith. Pitch from Haas. It's another choppy ground ball. This one goes to Jim Gantner. Over to Cecil Cooper. And there are now 2 away. So 2 outs, nobody on. DH, Dane Orge. Pitch from Haas. That's a hard ground ball. And a nice play by Robin Yount. And they get Orge by a half step for the final out here in the top of the 6th. But the Cardinals cut into that lead on George Hendrick's home run. They get 2 runs on 2 hits. No one left on base. And after 5.5, it's Milwaukee 6 and St. Louis 3. Now we have to check to see if Leahy is going to be fatigued some more. If he's going to drop to a grade D. So I probably should have got someone up, warming up once the Cardinals cut the lead to 3 runs. And it's going to be warming up for St. Louis. Eric Rasmussen. So he'll be warming up for the Cardinals. But right now, it's still Jeff Leahey, and he is not fatigued anymore. Okay, he's still fatigued, but he hasn't degraded to a D. So leading things off for Milwaukee here in the bottom of the 6th is Paul Molitor. And here's the pitch. And that's a pop fly double. Oh boy, but we have the blast symbol. So, pop fly double from the pitcher's card. If the batter has a home run at 1-1 or 1-6 on his card, which he does, Paul Molitor sends this one over Willie McGee's head, and it's out of here, way up out of here, gone. And Milwaukee gets one of those runs back, and it's now 7-3. And that's going to be it for Jeff Leahey. My. New pitcher for the Cardinals is Eric Rasmussen. In 1982, he was 1-2 with a 4.42 ERA, 18 1/3 innings pitched. He's a hard luck reliever, so I need to get that reference card out. All right. So hard luck pitcher. Well, a hard luck pitcher's on the mound. No teammate can be a star fielder when runners are on base. History's top fielders, which in this case, in this game, is only Ozzie Smith. They still remain star players. And pitchers that both start and appear in relief may have a hard luck rating in one capacity and not in the other. Okay. So really, it's only going to come down to when runners are on base. Does it affect Rasmussen? All right, so let's write him down. He is a defensive 0, so that's going to drop the Cardinals to a 29 on their fielding points. And he's a righty. He's an F. So Molitor's gone yard here. It's 7-3. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 6th, and it brings up Robin Yount. Here's the pitch. And they're both righty, so that's a strikeout instead of a single. And there's one away. Cecil Cooper. It's a sharp ground ball to second baseman Tom Herr. Keith Hernandez scoops that one out of the dirt, and there are 2 away. So 2 outs, nobody on. Catcher Ted Simmons. Pitch from Rasmussen. Sharp ground ball to Ozzie Smith, to Keith Hernandez. And they get Simmons by a full step for the 3rd out. But the Brewers get one of those runs back on Paul Molitor's solo shot. 1 run on 1 hit, no one left on. We've played 6, and it's the Brewers 7 and the Cardinals 3. All right, so we go to the top of the 7th. And we got to check Moose Haas for fatigue now. All right. So we'll flip a gamble card. If it's a pitcher's image, he's good. If it's a batter's image, he switches to a fatigue card, but he is good. All right. So Haas is cruising. Leading things off for the Cardinals will be Willie McGee. Here's the pitch. That's a leadoff single. McGee makes the turn, but he's going to hold it first. That brings up shortstop Ozzie Smith. Smith does have a run scored. He's 2 for 2 in this game. Double and a single with a run scored. Here's the pitch. And he's not finished. That's going to be a double. And let's see. So that's a double. And daring runner on first scores. McGee is a daring runner, so that's an RBI double for Ozzie Smith. And it's now 7-4. And back to the top of the order in Tom Herb. Nobody out, man on second. Pitch from Haas. It's a high fly ball. Center fielder Gorman Thomas. He's under that near the track and makes the catch for the first out. So 1 out. Man on second. Third baseman Ken Oberkfell. Pitch from Haas. It's a hard ground ball to Robin Yount. And Yount gives holds Smith at second and fires over to Cooper for the second out. Nice play by Robin. And there are 2 away. So 2 outs, man on second. First baseman Keith Hernandez. Brewers lead 7-4. Pitch. That's a deep fly ball to right field. Charlie Moore back to the track, to the wall, up against the wall, makes the catch for out number 3. And that's it for the Cardinals here in the top half of the 7th. But they do get a run on Ozzie Smith's RBI double. So 1 run on 2 hits. 1 man left on. As we go to stretch them, it's the Brewers 7 and the Cardinals 4. All right, so I'll take this opportunity to have another sip of my drink. Now let's see how many batters Mr. Rasmussen faced. 4. All right, so he's good for a few batters yet before we have to start doing fatigue checks for him. And that brings up Gorman Thomas to lead things off for Milwaukee here in the bottom of the 7th. There's the pitch. And that's a strikeout for Rasmussen. That's his second strikeout. And there's 1 away here in the bottom of the 7th. Ben Ogilvy. He's 1 for 3 with a run scored. Pitch. Hard ground ball. This one's hit at Ken Oberkfell. And he fires over to Keith Hernandez. And they get Ogilvy on a close play for the second out. So there's 2 outs, nobody on. And designated hitter, Don Money. Pitch. Deep fly ball. Money got under that one. Sends Willie McGee back to the track where he makes the catch. And I think for the first time in this game, possibly, the Brewers go 1-2-3. No runs, no hits, no one left on. After 7 innings, it's Milwaukee 7 and St. Louis 4. So, got to perform another fatigue check on Moose. And while we say that, Harvey Keene is going to get some action in his bullpen. And it's going to be Bob McClure warming up. McClure, starting pitcher, but he was used in relief in this series, I believe, almost exclusively. Or wait a minute, no, not McClure. I got that wrong. Yeah, it is McClure. Okay. Anyway, we're going to check Moose Haas to see if he's fatigued. He is not. So he is still cruising along here. And leading things off for the Cardinals here in the top of the 8th will be right fielder George Hendrick, who homered his last time up. He's 2 for 3 in this game. He also had a double back in the first. And a pitch. And he hits a fly ball to center field that Gorman Thomas can't track down, and Hendrick rounds first and is standing up at second with a lead-off double. So he's on second base, nobody out. Darryl Porter hits a high fly ball. This time Thomas gets that one. And there's one away. Hendrick holds at second base. So he's there with one out. And Lonnie Smith hits from Haas. And that is a single. That's going to get Hendrick around the score. And it's now 7-5. 7-5. So one out, man on first. Cardinals do get a run across here, and it's 7-5 now. And McClure's just about ready. Pitch from Haas. Oh boy. And it's another base hit. This one is hit past Haas into center field. Lonnie Smith moves up to second. He's going to stay there. So back-to-back singles, for the Cardinals. And now they have runners in first and second with one out, and they're only down by 2 runs, right? Did I miss one here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, 7-5. All right, so that's going to bring up Willie McGee. And that's it for Moose Haas. Bob McClure's the pitcher. And in 1982, he was 12-7 with a 4.22 ERA, 172 2/3 innings pitched. He is a #1 pitcher defensively, so no change there for Milwaukee. And he's going to face Willie McGee. Cardinals runners on first and second. So the tying run's on base. And there's one out, Willie McGee. Here's the pitch from McClure. And it's a hard ground ball to second baseman Jim Gantner. And we got to see if Milwaukee's alert. Anything less than the 28? No, it's the 32. So they're not alert here. So runners advance 1 base if forced. Alert defense with a runner on first. It's a double play. But they are not alert. So it's the ground out. The second out, and the runners move up 90. So McGee grounds out 4-3. And Smith moves to third, Orge to second, and there are 2 away. That brings up Ozzie Smith. So runners on second and third with 2 outs. And Ozzie Smith comes to the plate. Smith, who is 3 for 3. Smith is going to be batting from the right side here. Pitch from McClure. And that is a base hit for Ozzy. He's 4 for 4. And that is going to tie this game up. Both runners are going to score here. And Ozzy Smith drives in 2, and we are tied at 7. My. What a comeback for St. Louis so far. And it's not over yet. There's 2 outs, man on first. And Tommy Hurt. Pitch from McClure. Oh my goodness. Hurt gets a hold of this one. And it, over Ogilvy's head. It's way up, out of here, gone. And the Cardinals take the lead, and you could hear a pin drop here at Milwaukee County Stadium. It's now 8-7 in favor of the Cardinals. My goodness. And there is some more activity in Milwaukee's bullpen. And it's going to be Jim Slayton warming up. Wow, how things have changed. And the Cardinals are getting Bruce Sutter up and ready. All right, so let's see. Oberkfell comes to the plate. The Cardinals have scored 3 runs. There's 2 outs. The bases are cleared because, well, there was nobody on him, and Hurd just tagged all 4. Here's the pitch from McClure to Oberkfell, and it's a sharp ground ball to Jim Gantner, to Cecil Cooper, and out number 3. So, St. Louis, 3 runs on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits. Nobody left on base. We've played 7.5. And it is the Cardinals. Oh, wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. They scored 4 runs. So it was 4 runs on 5 hits. Nobody left on. And after 7.5, it is St. Louis 8 and Milwaukee 7. And there is going to be well, we're going to let Rasmussen face the first batter because it is Charlie Moore. All right, so here we are, bottom of the 8th. Cardinals lead 8-7. Bruce Sutter is ready to go, but Rasmussen's going to face Charlie Moore. And here's the pitch. And this is not good. It's better coming off of Rasmussen's card for the Cardinals because it's only a walk instead of a double. All right, so that's a leadoff walk for Moore. Tying runs on base. And that's it for Eric Rasmussen. Because it's now Bruce Sutter. In 1982, he was 9-8 with a 2.90 ERA, 102 1/3 innings pitched, 36 saves. Now, gotta double check the designated closer thing, the provision, I should say, in the rules. All right, so it's 7 batters. until he has to start doing fatigue checks. He needs 6 outs. So man on first, nobody out. Jim Gantner. It's a sharp ground ball to third baseman Oberkfell. Oberkfell over to Hernandez for the 5-4-3 double play. Big defensive play for Suter there. So back to the top of the order, and Paul Molitor, who homered his last time up. Cardinals lead 8-7. Here's the pitch. It's a sharp ground ball to Tom Herr. And he fires over to Keith Hernandez for out number 3. And that's it for the Brewers here in the bottom of the 8th. No runs, no hits, no one left on. We've played 8. It's the Cardinals 8 and the Brewers 7. So let's see McClure here. Well, he came in last inning and he's still good here. He's still good for a couple batters before we got to do a fatigue check. So McClure is going to face Keith Hernandez. They're both lefty. And Cardinals trying to get some insurance runs here. It's a chop ground ball to Robin Yount over to Cecil Cooper. And there's one away here in the top of the 9th. So 1 out, nobody on. George Hendrick. Hendrick, who homered his last time up. It's a pitch. Another ground ball. This time it's to Jim Gantner. And he tosses over to Cecil Cooper. It's 2 up, 2 down for St. Louis here in the top of the 9th. And catcher Darrell Porter. Porter is 0 for 4. Here's the pitch. And it's another choppy ground ball, this time to Jim Gantner. And once again to Cecil Cooper, and the Cardinals go 1-2-3 in the top of the 9th. No runs, no hits, no one left on. They failed to get an insurance run, so after 8.5, it's St. Louis 8 and Milwaukee 7. And here we go. Bruce Sutter, 3 outs away from getting the save and tying this series at 2 games apiece. And leading things off for Milwaukee here in the bottom of the 9th is Robin Yount. So Suter faced 2 batters in the 8th. Just a pitch. And that's a ground ball. Hernandez makes a diving stop. Suter covering first base is there. And there's one away. Cardinals are 2 outs away from tying this series. Cecil Cooper. Pitch. And he gets under that. Pops it up to Tom Herr. He calls off Keith Hernandez. He's under that. And there's 2 outs. And the Brewers are down to their final out here. After leading most of the game, they find themselves behind 8-7. Pitch from Suter. Ooh, just misses. And Simmons draws the 2-out walk. So he's on first. Tying run is aboard. Game-winning run comes to the plate. And it's Gorman Thomas. And here's the pitch from Suter. And it's a ground ball. Hit to Ozzie Smith. And he's going to go the short way to Tommy Herr covering second for the final out. And the Cardinals win this one 8-7. And tied this best of 7 1982 World Series replay at 2 games apiece. Let's get some totals for the Cardinals. 8 runs on 14 hits, 1 error. The Brewers 7 runs on 12 hits. They also committed 1 error. The winning pitcher is Jeff Leite. Wait a minute. No, it's Eric Rasmussen. So Rasmussen with the win. Suter with the save. I ran out of lines for him, but Suter gets the save here, and the loss goes to McClure. So St. Louis ties this series up 2 games apiece. There's 1 more here in Milwaukee, so they're definitely going back to St. Louis for at least 1. That's going to do it for this episode. If you hung out with me, I appreciate it, and I admire your patience. I'll be back again in the near future with another video. And until then, take care.